Yes. Today I'm here to share the very exciting story that actually developed between Shane and Ilya on a very popular, series that has been going around. But before we get into it and actually speak about everything, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know your opinion down below in the comments.
Yes.
Same, kind of the same to you. You
Pissed they can't come, but my mom is threatening to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch every game.
Landlord.
You asked.
No, I didn't.
You have fun last night?
Last night?
With your team?
Yes, so basically the plot follows Shane. Shane is an Asian Canadian hockey player, and Illy is a Rush player and are two of the biggest stars in the major hockey league that got, drafted into rival teams. In this case, one actually went to Montreal and the other one was drafted to Boston. And the media basically fuels their animosity towards one another, but they don't know that off cameras, that behind cameras, they are actually building a secret, a very secret, a passionate and affectionate relationship that has been going through a lot of ups and downs, especially because they see things and they view things very differently, but they just have an attraction towards one another that is very difficult for them, to stay away from each other. Shane is his family's golden boy with a supportive but also unaware parents that grapbles with him through everything, especially when it comes to his career. But you guys can also see that Shane is very much in denial of his orientation and his self-acceptance. So when he gets closer to Illy, you can see that slowly but surely he's coming into his own identity and finally accepting who he is, because he definitely does struggle with it. On the other hand, we have Illy. Illy is a superstar in the hockey league, and he's basically also deals with his own family trauma and emotional walls that he have built. But when Shane comes in the picture, you can see a little bit more of a vulnerable side of Illy that basically shows a whole different, dynamic of his personality and wow and how he is and why he is the way he is. So if you guys don't know, the storyline between the two actually develops throughout a decade. So oh yes, they basically meet, yes, at the first time when they actually get connected to one another. You can see that right from the, from the bat, they actually had a very, strong connection towards one another. The story begins with Shane and Illy competing against each other in the international junior tournaments. After that, after time went by, they actually start to film a commercial together, and that's the time where they shared their first physical encounter together. Obviously, Shane was struggling because it looks like it was his first time that he was doing this, but Ilya is a little bit more experienced, so they was doing what they needed to do in order to get that connection between each other going. But it's also very complex, because you can see that even though they like each other, they want to be with one another. It's a very complicated relationship. As time went by, they maintained a passionate but strict, secret, casual relationship, but struggle with the emotional toll of hiding their true feelings, as the hypermasculine world of professional hockey is not as safe space for open league, in this case gay athletes. So since they are on the tournament and they are basically playing the league, they don't spend a lot of time together, so they probably see each other once or twice a year, but they will connect with one another through the cell phone a lot. They be in touch with each other a lot, just teasing one another, because Shane he was having his restrictions regarding actually going to the next point when it comes to an intimate level with Illy. But Illy was very persistent and making sure that he wants to be, in this case, Shane's first experience. But Shane, like I said, he was having his doubts if he actually wanted to do it. So the time went by, years went by, and they finally had their moment together. And since that moment, they tried to see each other a little bit more often. But obviously both of them have a very demanding careers and they have very demanding teams, so they would often go a lot of time without seeing one another. But where I actually left it off at, I left it off at at the very beginning, at season 1 episode 2, where they basically part ways. And the reason why they part ways is because they got into an argument. It's like they just couldn't say eye to eye when it comes to a certain situation. So they kind of had a very rough but also very strong goodbye, and that's where I left it off. Obviously there's still other episodes that I have to watch, but this is the basically the breakdown for episode 1 and 2. They met, they hooked up, they go a lot of time without speaking to one another or seeing one another, in this case actually years without seeing one another. But when they do see each other, it's like nothing has changed. It's like they have been, together for a long time. But you can also see that in this case, Ilya is also in a relationship or situation with a woman. But in this case, Shane, he is a single man, very, very successful in this case, both of them. But they still have this connection towards one another that is very difficult. And especially after the last time, they were actually intimate with one another, you can see that there was a very, very big disconnect. And, Shane started to feel a little bit weird towards Ilya because he couldn't understand what is going on. Why do they have this weird dynamic? Obviously, Ilya is also, going through his own personal situations when it comes to his family, and he also, is struggling with that as well. So I left it off, at the argument, it's like, they just cannot see eye to eye. They just cannot find a way to communicate their feelings towards one another. Because like I said, they go a lot of time without seeing one another. And when they do see each other, it's only to hook up. They don't really get to talk and have like, open conversations. That's basically the dynamic of the first 2 episodes. I will be doing, more updates regarding it, but I will definitely say if you guys are interested in the storyline, it's available to watch on HBO Max, Apple TV, Prime Video. It has one season with 6 episodes, and let me tell you, it's 100 trillion% worth the watch. So yes, guys, thank you for the love, the support. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Until the next video, and goodbye.